Well, hello, hello, hello there. Welcome to Stuck in the Middle. It's your boy AJ Jamal, and we have an amazing show. I'm sitting with my main man, my friend, the one and only Leo Rossi. Come on now. Come on now.
Hey Jay, good to see you, buddy.
Now, Leo, normally I have a video and everything to show all the things, people you work with, and all the things you've done. But because I didn't spend more than $9 a month for my Dropbox, I had to, when they said they wanted $12, I'm like, whoa. So I got to go get some money. I got to 19, I got to get $3 more. And next week we'll have the videos and everything. But other than that, Leo, how you been doing, man? We'll let them tell you. We'll let you tell the people some of the things you've done. How you been doing, first of all?
I've been doing great. I'm just taking advantage of being down in this COVID world and writing a lot and doing some more episodes, getting ready to get back out there and just working it. Like you're talking about Dropbox and technology. I think during all this, they should have gave all of that for free.
Right.
Instead of jacking up the prices, kicking us down. That ain't fair.
No, it ain't. Seriously. I remember back in the day, I'd take my VHS and put it in an envelope and mail it, and then they would have the videos. But now you got Dropbox, you got all these fees. You are absolutely right. They should give it to us like they're giving us some of the other things. If I can't get a stimulus package, I should be able to get a Dropbox.
That's right. It is Dropbox, and then they say, oh yeah, by the way, you know what? It's $40 more because we have so much. Well, if you have so much, then why are you hiring your prices? You should be lowering your prices.
Exactly. So why don't you tell this beautiful audience some of the people you've done? Because I don't know if you've seen my little thing I did on Facebook, my little drop, my PSA drop or whatever, my advertisement. I actually was telling people you were the bodyguard only because there was a huge movie with Whitney and Kevin Costner, and it was called The Bodyguard. Now, if that same movie had been called The Tour Manager, then I would have said Leo the Tour Manager.
Yeah, I wasn't a bodyguard. I was too afraid to do that.
I know that, Leo. You're too nice to be a
bodyguard.
bodyguard.
I started off as actually a lighting designer, and then got tired of being the first one in, the last one out, and the dirtiest. So I ended up getting into production management, then the tour management, and being a tour director, which is basically, you take the bands on the road. You're like the CEO. You do all the budgets. You get all the crew together. You do all the logistics. You make the deals. You make sure the advertising. You work with the agents and the management. And, that's what I did. And I was blessed how I fell into this. And we can talk about that later. But I got to work with some of the greatest rock and roll bands in the world. And, I spent 20 years with Fleetwood Mac, and I had this forte to work with women. I guess I had the patience. So I did work with Bette Midler and Ricky Lee Jones.
Wow, Bette Midler.
And you and I worked together with Diana Ross. And
right.
But yeah, the Who, the Beach Boys. I mean, it just goes on and on and on,
Right. So in actuality, I should have said you were the tour manager because you do more than what the bodyguard do. The bodyguard just stand in front of people and maybe take a bullet. And I know you wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that. But you put the budget together, and you actually know the route, the scheduling. So you had your hands full, man.
Yeah, when you're messing with people's money, man, it's a different. It's a bit different. But bodyguards, you know what? They're more than just taking a bullet. They're the confidants, man. They're the ones that hear the stuff and the pain and the happiness and the sorrow. They're right on the front line. If you got to have a really good bodyguard staff, and they have to have great assistants, because those are the people that really they shield you from the stuff that you don't want to see.
Right, exactly. And we both work with, and he was the bodyguard for Cher, and what's his name?
Andre Augustine.
Andre, I was about to say Andre the Giant. I was thinking of, we both worked with, and Andre was a really cool brother. But when we were working with Cher, you're right. He did do a lot of things. Now, that being said, who you say you work with the Who? You work with Beach Boys. Did you do the Beach Boys? That's what I was going to ask. They had a reunion tour. I think their 50th or something.
Yeah, I was the tour director on the 50th anniversary.
And wow. So you were like pushing around 50-year-old people?
70-year-olds. Not 50, 70s.
70-year-old people. So so you had to go get stuff like prescriptions and stuff?
Well, no, other people did, but there were things you had to really think about. All these tours are insured. So in case something happens, everybody gets paid and the promoters are paid. And, you know, so I had these 70-year-old guys and they were turned stronger than 20-year-olds. But, you know, you go to a hotel where there were step-in tubs because, you know, one slip, one fall. So you had to find hotels with showers and all these special needs. And it led to some pretty peculiar situations, you know. But yeah, you know, but I tell you what, no, man, those guys they did stuff that 20-year-olds couldn't do. They were seasoned pros. It was a great tour.
Now, I remember was it Boston? Where were you at where they wouldn't let you check in? I remember because I saw.
Oh, yeah. So I stayed at the Westin in Boston because it had the showers. It had the no step-in tubs. Well, the lobby is way up on a hill, and you go down to the street, which was like a quarter mile. And that's why I picked it, because, you know, I could get the buses right up there. So we did our show, and we were going to check out. And I was going to pull the buses up, but they called me right after I got home back to the hotel from the show, and they said, we need everybody's passports and information. And I said, well, last I checked, Boston was in America. What do you need our passports for? And then they said, well, because the president is in the house tonight and we got to do a security check. So they did the security check and we passed. I had everything for them. But the next morning when we went to check out, I did the luggage call, told the band and everybody to be at the lobby by 9. And we were going to jump on our buses and get on our plane and go away. Well, as I was checking out, the Secret Service came up to me and they said, you got to move your buses. And I said, why? It was the president wants to leave. And I went, well, if you can give me 15, no, move your buses. I said, just give me 15 minutes. I can't have these guys walk down there. It's hot. It was summertime. I said, please just give me 15 minutes and I'll get out of your hair. And the guy says, no, you got to move your buses. So I started making arrangements for golf carts and vans and whatever. And I'm at the counter, the desk, and I'm sitting there and I'm just going like, okay, just roll with this. And Secret Service guy came up to me and he says, and I said, hey, man, I'm moving as fast as I can. You got to understand what I'm working with here. He says, no, he says, really 15 minutes? And I said, yeah, 15 minutes and I can get out of here. He goes, okay, get him out in 15 minutes. The president said for the Beach Boys, he'll wait.
Right. So you were with the Beach Boys and they found out you were working with the Beach Boys and the president loved the Beach Boys so much. He said, I'll give you. He said, the president will wait. And then, so as we're pulling away, I decided to get some 8x10 signed for the Secret Service and for the president. Said, dear Prez, thanks for your consideration, and gave one to the Secret Service guy. And he pulled me over and he said, look, you have to understand, I've been doing this a long time. And I'm going to tell you right now, you know how hard it is to move a presidential motorcade? You're talking about TSA, FBI, Air Force One, all this stuff. He goes, so, and I said, well, listen, man, we really appreciate it. And I said, just tell the president, thank you very much. And, you know, I think the thing is, that's when I really, on that tour, that was the 50th anniversary, which started out sort of a joke, you know, AJ was like 50 years, like who wants to do that and admit it? Right. But it ended up being something really, really big. And then after that, everybody started doing 50th anniversary. So it was that day early on in the tour, I realized how big this tour really was going to be, you know? And they were selling out. All over the world? Everywhere, around the world. It was supposed to be 50 shows, 3 months. I think we ended up doing 18 months, over 120 something shows. Wow, that is amazing. Yeah, so it was fun. Ask you a quick question. Yeah. What do you think is different than when you were doing it back then than the way they doing tour? I mean, the way things are set up now with the music. And you mean touring? Oh, music? It's technology. You know, look. When I was at Fleetwood Mac, one thing about Fleetwood Mac was in 1975 and 76, when you know, everybody knows that they had all these relationship issues and, you know, there was a love-hate thing and, you know, they were all hooking up and doing stuff in the music. They were writing about each other. You see, it had a story. It had a story, but what was cool about it is not only musically were they amazing, but this story was starting to get told through the media, you know, People Magazine and radio and everything else. And so along with this story came their music, which was the soundtrack, right? So it's just the story is really what blew that band up as well as, so now what happens with all this technology with TikTok and YouTube and Facebook and Twitter, you're able to tell your story, but the attention span of the people has changed. So you need to tell your story like literally within 30 seconds.
And if you could tell your story in 30 seconds and connect to people, then they start digging deeper. And then if your repertoire is ready, then they'll log on to you, you know, if it's TikTok, whatever it is. So, you know, it really is all about a story, but you could tell a story quicker now, and you're able to do distribution. Nobody controls your distribution channel but you.
Right.
Nobody can hold you hostage. So, you know, this day and age, it's very, very apparent, you know, that I think about the guy that was drinking the cranberry soda on the skateboard. You know, it became a national thing. But where did it start? It started with the Fleetwood Mac track that a lot of people didn't know existed, and it was a great track. And then the story of it, you know. So, you know, if you're a young artist starting out today, man, tell your story, tell it in 30 seconds. And when people can connect to that, you better have your repertoire ready. And if you do, you know, you have the story, you know, and it's technology. It's technology.
Exactly. So let me ask, I know you get this a lot, and I know you're not going to give me a real answer. Who's the most difficult person you work with?
They're not difficult. None of them are difficult. Challenging.
Who's the most, how do you say, who didn't make you happy? Because we talked about, I was joking with you. I said, you ever shot somebody? And he goes, no, AJ, you know I didn't shoot nobody. I said, well, did you ever want to shoot somebody? You said, sure, I want to shoot somebody. And I was thinking, oh, now we get into some juicy stuff. So my question, let me rephrase the question. Who would you want to shoot, Leo?
There's a lot of people I wanted to shoot as a tour manager. No, you know what? They're all. That's one of the reasons why I kept doing what I did, because they, you know what, difficult. Look, they all have their reasons for being what they are. You know, the one show that you and I are going to do together, the show called Diva, all the divas that we've worked with. You know, Diva's not a bad thing. Right. Diva is a badge of honor. Those women broke the ceiling to become what they are, and you know, I don't think challenging is a better way to put it, but they all are challenging in their own way. I think
you're right. Who was the most challenging? Let me rephrase. Who was the most challenging person you work with?
Probably have to. I would say Diana Ross, but for good reasons, though. You know, good reasons. She knew what she wanted. Right. She has a reason to be the way she is, I feel. And you know, I love working with her. I really did. Sure, it was challenging. I mean, there were times where there was like some of the things I was asked to do were impossible, but we got them done. Great crew. You know, Andre was with me on that one. I mean, you know, you and I have a great story about, you know, you backstage. You could tell that story
with Miss Ross. But you know, it's that you say that. I've always thought, I love Miss Diana Ross because she was a hard worker. She was the boss, and she was a woman. So she had to have that persona like, don't try to take advantage of me because, you know, I'm in control. And I thought I respected that with Miss Ross. So the fact that people will say, well, they would ask me that question because I was with her for 4 years. And they were like, AJ, was Diana Ross difficult? And I go, no, never was difficult. Matter of fact, she was fun, and I respected the way she did things. And the one story, remember, I was in the dressing room getting ready to open up the show. All of a sudden, security guard knocks on the door. He said, AJ, is anybody in your room or something? I go, no, man, I'm by myself. He goes, you know, you sure? I said, yeah, you can come in and check. I said, why do you ask that question? He was like, because Miss Ross said she saw somebody walking around back here, and she was wondering if they, you know, are in your room. And I said, oh, no, come look. And so he went looking around, he's searching, and so he didn't see nobody. So he walks out, and he walks back down in the hallway to where Diana Ross's room was. And so I stick my head out the door because I'm a little concerned. So he looks at her, and he's talking to her, and then he turns around. He starts walking back towards me with a smile. And I'm like, oh, my man. He came to me. I said, did y'all find out who it was? He said, yeah. I said, who was it, man? He go, it was you. I go, what do you mean? He go, she asked me who you were. And I said, she asked you who I was. And I said, what you tell her? He said, Miss Ross, that's your opening act. And she goes, how long has he been with me? And then he said, for 3 years. I'm like, wow. So I said, that's amazing. All this time, but she's had opening acts before.
Yeah, but wait. Tell them what we did with the marquee.
Oh, well, we drove in Philadelphia. We drove up to Philadelphia. It had AJ Jamal with Miss Diana Ross. And Leo was like, you better hurry up and take a picture. I was like, what do you mean? He said, you should take a picture of that right now. I'll go, why? He said, just take a picture. Next thing I know, dudes with ladders come running out. As soon as our bus pulled in, they put the ladders up on the marquee and they start grabbing my name right off the marquee. AJ Jamal was taking off that thing so quick, it looked like I was never even in town. You say, I told you should have took a picture, because that never happens where they put a shared name with Miss Diana Ross. I said, okay, well, cool. That's
fun. You know what, though? She has a right to be the way she is, because when she was younger and she first started out and she really did cross soul music into the white world, she got taken advantage of. She didn't nearly make the money that she was due to make, back then in the Motown days. So, you know what? I applaud everything she did, and I loved working with her. I loved touring with her kids, when they came out of the road. And, yeah. So
it's interesting. The one thing I really respect, she actually loved to be out there on stage, and she loves working, and she loves to do what she was doing. I said, man, at her age and what she's accomplished, I'd be at home resting. But she take a tour. As a matter of fact, I just worked with her last year on a cruise they called the Tom Joyner cruise. Mm-hmm. And of course, she didn't go cruising, but when the ship was supposed to take off, normally it takes off around 6 o'clock. But she performed, and she started performing around 5, and she got off the stage. Whatever time she got off the stage, they just held the ship there at the dock in Miami until she got off the ship and she went her way. But the fact that she's out there working and just working as hard as she can, and if it wasn't for the pandemic, she probably would be on tour right now, man.
Oh, she would be. In fact, I talked to a lot of the crew guys in the band. I talked to a lot of the band, and they're, everybody's waiting to get back, but it took the wind out of everybody's sails. But they had a whole tour plan. They had they had 2020 completely booked.
Oh wow.
Yeah, they did. So let me ask. They were ready to rock,
So have you ever worked with any rappers?
No, I haven't. The only rap situation that I was in was when I was working with Shaka Khan, and we did the record "I Feel for You," and Melly Mel and Grandmaster Flash came in. This is early on, '84, when they came in, and rap was nothing. And they came to the studio, and then that's when the first time I really heard it and got involved with it. And then, I'm there in the studio, and then Stevie Wonder comes in and plays the harp part, and I'm sitting there just going wow, this is but. One of these days, you need to get Andre on here, because he was the security guard for NWA on their big tour.
Yeah, that's right.
So he has the great stories of that whole thing. But no, I never did. That's the only thing I ever did with the rap was when I was with CK.
Right. Now, if you had a chance to work with one of the rappers, who would you work with? And even a better question, and I always ask the guests, if someone gave you 4 tickets to see a rap concert. You could take anybody you want. You go see any rapper you want or hip hop artist you want. Who would you go see?
Right now or in the past?
Right now.
I don't know right now, but I would love to see the NWA guys of course, without Easy, I'd love to see them do a reunion. I would love to see that, because I think what those guys did with you, Dre, come on. The sounds that guy made, okay, the lyrics are the lyrics, and they had a reason to do it. They were oppressed. But if you strip the lyrics out and listen to the production, come on, man, it's genius.
Right.
It's genius. Right. So
I just saw something I was reading 2 days ago, and they were listing some of the rappers, the top rappers who was making money. And I was sitting there going, this is amazing. There was a guy, DJ Kelly. He was number 25, the rapper who's rated number 25 of the money that was been made in the last year or two. He made, $65 million this dude made. 65 million. And he is number 25. Now, number 1, who's made 3.2 billion, is Kanye West. And I'm sitting there going, Leo, we're in the wrong business. I mean, if we were 1,000, and let's say we were the 1,000th rapper on the list, we'd probably still be making what we making now. So we got to get a rap song together, Leo.
You got to remember something. The 3 billion is probably not even the number that could have been, because it is a format that is highly pirated. highly pirated. So that 3 billion realistically is probably 12 billion, because meaning that if it was legit, there were legitimate sales. I mean, that stuff is downloaded and traded, and look at Spotify, the artists don't get paid. So I mean, I can understand it, but I think that I'd like to see Chance the Rapper. I think he'd be great. I think he's got great messages, and I think that he works hard.
Right.
But then again, in this world, those guys are all moving targets. You know what I mean?
Oh, exactly. Kanye West, come on, man, 3 point, and they were crying that Kanye West. Number one, he took out a small business loan for 1 point something million. Kanye West took out I couldn't even get $500 from the SBA, and he took $1 million. And I know the reason why, because he's worth what, 3.2 billion. And now that he's and the cool part about it, and now I can see why he married Kim Kardashian, because they're getting divorced now, and it ain't like she gonna come after him for some money, because she probably got how many billion?
Yeah. Well, that's a whole nother world that is gotten to be so bizarre. There is no such thing as reality TV. First of all, it's people are foolish if they think there is. It's all scripted. It's all pushed and shoved. I mean, I don't know. Again, art form is art form, and I applaud anybody that gets out there and tries something different to do something.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? I mean, and if you reinvent the mousetrap and you reinvent the wheel, then God bless you. You know what I mean? But there's a difference. In the older days in classic rock, they did it for a completely different reason. And you had a substantial career, and you had a 3-record deal, and you made money, and
right.
You did it because you wanted to develop a craft. Now there's so much competition. Can you blame these poor kids? Their career could be over in a nanosecond. So if you have a chance to grab some money to secure your family and your life and your kids' and you know what? They're going to take it, and you just do it. But I just don't like when they do it for the wrong reasons,
Right. So let me ask, are you a social media person? I mean, because I think social media just smacked us in the back, boy. We were comfortable with what we were doing, and all of a sudden, the social media has become, I heard that they're taking over the cable networks now.
Well, I am not a social media person. I have an Instagram account because just to let people know when I'm doing shows and sell books. But when I finished with Fleetwood Mac in 1990, I stopped, I got off the road, and I was the first digital recording studio, probably in the United States, if not the world. In 1982, the US festivals in the deserts of California, Fleetwood Mac was the headliner, and we hooked up with Apple. So okay. I got very tight with Apple computers early on. And when the Macintosh came out with Fleetwood Mac, so from 82 all the way up until 90-ish, I was really tight with Apple. And then we started doing the video conversion from analog to digital. So I was involved in the whole first digital downloads with Liquid Audio and Capitol and EMI Records. And I sold that label to spend time with my children because they were just, they were growing up so fast. I wanted to be with them. But I learned early on that technology was going to be the game changer, not only for rights management and revenue, but the way people were going to handle everything. So I remember I did a conference once, and we were talking about digital downloads for music. Okay. And I went to talk to the movie companies to tell them that they were next. And they were like going, there will never be compression where people can transfer movies over the internet. And I said, no, it's coming. And they didn't listen. And they said, oh, we're going to write all this security. And I said, look, if you write any kind of digital security, it can be unwritten. So, I don't really believe in it myself, because when I get into it so heavily, it takes away from my artistic, what I want to do artistically. And also it dilutes my message. I can't keep my messages straight on what I really want to say, because I'm so busy, and I don't want to hire kids to do it because they don't tell the story like I want to tell it. So like my son said, for the foundations, I'd rather be judged and do it all by the actions other than the hype.
Right. So now, where are you at right now? Because I know home is like San Pedro, right?
Yeah, I have a little place in San Pedro, California, And I'm in Northern California, about an hour south of the Oregon border. And there used to be a really famous recording studio up here in Weed, California. Yep, Weed. It's not named for that, but I was recording artists up here, and I bought this little condo on a golf course right at Mount Shasta, so I could keep the bands here and not spend money at hotels. So over the years, I kept it, and they kept renting it out to golfers. And then when COVID hit, I came up here just to check it out, and I said, well, this is pretty cool. There's no COVID up here. It's safe. And I came up here, and I can write, I can edit, I got a little studio, and it's just been tremendous. It's been really creative. But when you and I jump on the ships,
right,
I go to Pedro and I stay there. I mean, when you and I got caught a year ago with all our luggage and crap on the ships, and we couldn't get it off for a month.
I got to tell them that story, Leo, because the way it was, we were working on the same ship. We came into San Pedro, we docked. Now, we're supposed to get back on the ship, and you left a boatload of cash you made from selling books in the safe, and we all got off the ship thinking we're gonna get right back on it like we always do. So I got off the ship. I went to Ross Dress for Less, one of my favorite designer stores, and I'm not sure. Yeah, you must have jumped off too, because you could walk to your house.
Yeah,
and then when I came back, I had my little snacks and stuff I was bringing back. I saw a lot of people just standing out there, and I'm saying, what are all these people? They just standing out there. And then next thing I know, they said, oh, they're not letting us on the back on the ship until they do something, figure out something. So we sat there until 11 midnight, and at 11 midnight, that's hilarious. We sat there till 11 o'clock, and then at 11 o'clock, they said, the ship has been canceled. That's what they said. The cruise has been canceled. Contact such and such for further information. That's it. They made an announcement. All of us just sitting there. I mean, people started crying. It was a big problem because people wanted to go on their cruise. And I mean, people have flew from out of the country to go on their cruise. Next thing I know, I'm just sitting there going, wait a minute, my stuff is on there. My clothes is on there.
Yep.
My computer, everything is on
there. We had everything on there.
Everything was, and they wouldn't let us back on the ship. So because you had mad connections, I left, and 2 months later, our stuff was still on the ship. And you knew the people that worked the pier.
Oh, man.
Like, AJ, let me go find out the lowdown, and let me see if I can get your stuff and my stuff off. And sure enough, some miracle, because you're a tour manager. You went down there and did your tour manager skills, and they let you get your stuff off the ship, and then you grabbed my stuff off the ship.
Yeah, they packed it up for us, man. But you remember that night, there were 4,000 people in that terminal, and they just said, cruise canceled. Not, we have hotels for you, and there was no hotels. There was nothing. I mean, they just told everybody, you're on your own.
Right.
And again, this is like right before COVID was announced. So I got sick. My girl got sick. I mean, there was so much COVID in that room. And what happened is they said they were having some technical difficulty. Well, there's a couple of crew members that transferred from the Grand Princess onto our ship, and they had to test the whole crew, and they did, but the test didn't come back. And then the captain of the harbor just said, we're shutting the whole harbor down.
Right.
And then, 1 month, 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. And I'm sitting there going like, man, my computers, everything's on the ship, our clothes, medicine, passports, everything. And I'd call AJ. I said, look, I got a buddy that's working on the docks. I went to school with him. I'm going to call Ron Goodman, the entertainment guy, and just tell him, pack our crap up and just throw it on the dock, and I'll take care of it from there. And we got lucky, and we got it. And I put your stuff, and you came up, and it was. But man, we were on a roll. We were. That was the middle of what, 5 cruises. And...
Exactly. We were supposed to do. Let me ask, did you ever get your cash?
Nope.
Are you serious?
Nope, it's still on the ship. All my books
in the safe, right?
What happened was I got the stuff out of the safe, but when I sold the books, the gift shop controls the money. So they were holding, I didn't settle my account. And then when I called Princess, they said, well, all accounts are settled by the ship. So you have to wait till you get back on the ship. And I said, okay, when's that? Nobody knows. So now the ship, which is the Royal Princess, is in Australia, and it's not coming back to LA.
Australia with your money.
Exactly. So whatever. I had a bunch of books on the ship, and I donated them to the staff, to the crew, and to to the captains and the first mates. And I told Ron, I said, just give the rest of the books away. And, you know, one of these days, you know what, it doesn't matter. The scheme of things, money doesn't matter. You know, I hope everybody enjoyed it, but you know.
Exactly. And you know, one other thing I said in my advertisement, and if there's people, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to the channel, because we're going to be bringing you more videos, and we're going to be, more shows. So make sure you subscribe. I always like to do a call to action to have people to tell their friends, to tell their friends, to tell their friends. But, you know, keep things going and help us boom this show. Make sure you subscribe. And because what I was going to say, one thing we do, Leo, on the show, and we had a lot of stuff prepared, but you know, the Dropbox killed my videos, killed my animal love section, and killed my fake. I have a fake sponsor, I always do. Oh, let me ask, I got to ask the producer, Greg, we don't even have Killing the Karaoke, do we?
We do not, AJ. Sorry.
Oh, man. See, you get a pass on this, Leo.
That's okay, man. You know, there's a reason I'm backstage and not on stage, so that's good.
Come on, man. We were going to do... And guess what I had lined up?
What?
I said, if he can't sing this karaoke, I had Dream by Fleetwood Mac. So
well, at least I know
it anyway. I'm going to play, huh?
At least I know the words, I think.
Okay, well, I'm gonna play the music and you're going to sing the words. We're going to make it through the first bar. Doom, 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 doom. Go on, sing it, Leo. Doom, boom, boom, boom.
There you go again. You say you want your freedom. Who am I to keep you down?
Yeah, you do. You are off. Yeah,
no. There's a reason I'm not there. You know what though? But there's so many good messages about that band and that song. You know, that was a retaliation from Lindsay telling her to go her own way. Go your own way. You know, so they were tit-tatting back and forth in the lyrics.
Who was fighting?
Yeah, they were all fighting.
Graham?
Lindsey Graham. Lindsey Buckingham and Stevie Nicks were fighting, and then John and Chris were splitting up. And she wrote "Don't Stop" to John about, you know, don't stop thinking about tomorrow. And then she wrote "You Make Love and Fun," which was about my buddy on the tour, Curry. He was the lighting designer, and they had that thing going. And "Oh Daddy" was Christine, I think, writing about Mick. And then "Golden."
So if they had a personal problem, they turned it into a song.
Oh yeah. And you know what? I mean, there were times they were off stage and shit was like really heavy, but man, the minute they got on stage, you know, the crew, we used to call it magical animosity because that's what it was. When they got on stage and they were going off on each other musically, man, it created moments that we were just like, wow, you know, this is heavy, you know, but it was so passionate and great, you know?
Wow, that is crazy. So
yeah.
Let me ask, the book, and I've seen you do the story, Knights of Rock. Is that correct, right?
The book's title is "When the Devil Smiles, the Angels Frown, My Life and Times in Rock and Roll."
That's your first book, or the one that's coming out now?
No, that's my first book. That's the book that's out.
Oh, the how do you say the seminar you give is called?
Knights of Rock.
Knights of Rock. Oh,
yeah, with a K, like Knights of the Round Table, but Knights of Rock.
Right. And so, and the book is about?
The book is about me growing up and falling into this this magical world. I mean, you know, not to give too much away because I love people to read the book, but it was all circumstance, destiny, and fate, man. Right place at the right time. I was 14 years old, a freshman in high school. I was in a theater class because the teacher told me I got out of class a lot and had no homework and it was easy. And we went to a field trip to see a play. I hated it, and I snuck backstage, and I watched the second half of the show backstage, and at the show ended, I got in trouble. So they knew I was interested, so my punishment for that was to become a stagehand and work it off as a stagehand on the weekends, and that led to an apprenticeship. So about 14 to 17, when I was in high school, not only was I doing opera and light opera, but the rock bands used to come through. Right. So when the rock bands came through, I kept meeting the same road guys, you know, the same lighting guys, sound guys, band guys. And, you know, I was so young and energetic, I would fix things pretty simple because I was taught by these great union guys. So the minute I got out of high school, I had some scholarships to go do some theater stuff and I blew that out, but I got a phone call. And, you know, at 18, I was on tour with The Who, you know, and that I took off from there and I just kept rolling. And but my whole life has just been these moments in time that came my way, like, you know, how I met Fleetwood Mac again You know, I worked the rehearsal for free. They needed a lighting guy and they had no money. So I worked it. And, you know, it's been 20 years, magical years with them just by doing a rehearsal, you know? So that's what the book is, really a life story. And it's not about the bands, and it's not about what you can read on the internet. It's seriously about, you know, a bunch of us that were 10 feet from this greatness that, you know, led them to get bigger. Not them, just all these bands, you know? I mean, we were a bunch of kids that had this fear of a 9-to-5 job. And we just took it to the next level, you know, with them.
So I was telling people that because there's a lot of people out there, including AJ Jamal, who have the thought of writing a book, and you know, it's from what you've done or what you feel is a need to express yourself. And I said on my little drop, I said, for people who want to write a book, where would they start? I mean, is it just putting it on paper, or
no?
You're doing your second book now, right? What's the second book called?
The working title is An Old Guitar with New Strings.
Okay.
It's about me going back on the road in 2006. I have 3 books so I'm jumping the middle section, which is all about the record label and everything. And I'm going to my return back on the road once my kids got older. So it is literally a new guitar, an old guitar with new strings. But, you know, to write a book, it's difficult. I'm telling you, it's not simple. But the biggest thing you have to quantify before you think about writing a book is, what is your message? Okay. What is the message of your book? What is the story you want to tell? And then once you have that, then you have to arc your story. And when you're arcing your story, is there's certain things that all people go through. And, you know, there's conflict, there's love, there's resolution, there's little guy beats big guy, there's heartbreak, there's leaving home, there's coming home. You have all of these tender stories that are like what Tom Hanks says, the 7 great stories or whatever it is. So if you can find a time in your life to relate to those stories and then arc it along with your message, it falls in place. But it takes a lot. You know, you just can't write it. You'll rewrite it and write it. And you have to have what I call, as a book doctor, is like an editor that can say, hey, that paragraph's a little long. Can you tell me what you're thinking about there? And then try to make it better. And then the grammar and the punctuation, and it's quite tedious. And then to put it out yourself and self-publish. So, okay. I endorse everybody. Tell your story. It doesn't matter who you were with or what. There's beauty in everybody's story, AJ. You know, Steve Morris has a great story. You know, all you guys. I mean, comedy's hard, man.
Right.
Comedy's hard.
People don't realize.
No, they don't.
How they say tragedy and comedy. It's wait a minute. Tell the story about Steve Morris. We mentioned Steve, who works on the ship. Very funny comedian who was with the Eagles, right?
The Beach Boys. He opened for the Beach Boys forever. Which is hard.
What did he say about the comedian? He has a book he wrote.
He's starting his book, yeah.
Back in the day.
Oh, back in the day, the history of comedy, you mean?
The history of comedy.
The history of comedy he took it back to where he said it was way back in the medieval times with the court jester, because the court jester was the only one who could really tell the king the truth and not get his head cut off.
Right.
So the king would say, hey, am I getting fat? And the jester would say, well, quite frankly, you're huge. Right. And the king would laugh. But if somebody else said that, he would probably get his head cut off. So the court jester was an important part of the kingdom, you know. Right. But, you know, so it goes that far back. And, you know, someone else said, oh, death, that's easy. Comedy's hard.
Right. Yeah, that's right. You know, my first time ever doing television, let's see, was the Apollo Theater. And I don't know, you've heard about the people who didn't make it through the Apollo Theater. Well, I ended up doing it around 7 times, which was a long time. Because some people, and I got to where I was telling people down in the basement where we would get dressed and get ready. They would come up to me, man, this is my bit. I'm going to close with, it's a killer bit. And I would go, man, you better open up with that bit. He go, no, I'm going to save it for last. I go, you may not get to last. Start off with that bit. get them laughing. And then he said, no, I know what I'm doing. I said, okay. So I sat down there. As soon as they introduced him, he did his opening bit. Boo! Boo! Get him off. And as soon as they booed him off the stage, he came down looking at me. I go, how did your closing bit work?
I didn't get there.
But
yeah.
But we all have those days. When I was telling you, have you worked with some rappers? I have, see comedians, we have the opportunity to work with everybody. I have worked with some rappers. I did Coolio, and when I was in New York doing Coolio, number one, they didn't put me on the ticket. So the promoter of the show was like, okay, we want you to go out there and do 15 minutes. I said, who's gonna introduce me? He go, you can introduce yourself. I said, you want me to just go out there and introduce myself? He said, I tell you what, I let him know you're coming. So he gets to the microphone, he go, ladies and gentlemen, are you here to see Coolio? And everybody go, yeah, we want to see Coolio. Are y'all ready for Coolio? They go, yeah, we ready for Coolio. Well, before Coolio, we got a comedian named AJ Jamal. Go and get him. And everybody was like, boo, who is he? Boo. And I was like, why did you introduce me? So then I get to the microphone. I said, wait a minute. I said, I had to calm him down first. I said, look here, people. I said, you can boo me. I'm not mad at y'all booing me, but let me do the joke and then boo the joke. Don't boo me, boo the material. And I said, let me do 2 jokes. If you want to boo me, then boo me. Sure enough, I did my first 2 jokes. They started laughing. Next thing you know, we on the road. They started, everybody, man, I could tell you some stories.
No, you're right. You know what?
Lil Wayne in Dallas. Lil Wayne, Dallas, Texas. Lil Wayne, I go out and do my little 20 minutes, got my pay. Lil Wayne comes out, and I guess the problem was he didn't get all his money. We got to talk about that later. Lil Wayne didn't get all his money, but he went out, he did 2 songs, and Lil Wayne left the stage. I mean, and after Lil Wayne left the stage, the crowd was like, where is it at? Where's that? They go, AJ, go out there and finish. I'm like, wait a minute, I did my set. No, man, people are starting to get rowdy. So what that got to do with me? They pushed me back out there. Boo, boo. Where's Lil Wayne? Where's Lil Wayne?
No, I tell you, to be a comedian and open for any headliner is difficult because, you know, they're not there to see you. You know,
exactly.
You got to win them over quickly. I mean, you know.
Exactly. They're not there to see you.
You know, so, you know, when I was in Fleetwood Mac, I think it was in the 80s or something, we didn't want to do opening acts, but in LA, Mick Fleetwood decided that he was going to do an opening act. And so we had this comedian, I think his name was a magician. His name was the Great Ronzoni.
Wait a minute, a magician?
So this guy was going to do all kind of stuff, and he was going to get in this trunk all strapped up. And as we were doing the set change, you know, getting ready and all this other stuff, this guy was going to get out of this box. And all of a sudden, you know, it's like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 12 minutes. And we didn't know what to do. We didn't know, really had no idea. Finally, you know, JC, the tour manager, came up to me and said, what's going on? I said, we don't know what to do. This guy's stuck in the box, right? So we had a bunch of stagehands, and they grabbed this box and they brought him back, you know, and the band went on stage, and I went back and they got screwdrivers and stuff, and they broke it open. This guy was just passed out in the box. What? Done, you know, and he came to, and he was like, no, dude, you're not on stage anymore. You had a problem, you know? So it's like, you know, opening acts, man, it's a hard deal, man. I mean, seen Steve try to open for the Beach Boys. So Steve to win over the Beach Boys, you know, because the Beach Boys are a tough crowd, you know, they want to hear Surfer Girl, you know, and this guy's out there. But, you know, sometimes he gets it done, you know?
Right.
Well, I have all the respect in the world for you cats, because I've seen it.
Now, have you ever heard of the Essence Festival? That's like one of the biggest theaters I've worked. It's at the Superdome in New Orleans. Yeah. Okay. And I didn't mind, because you know what? There's certain crowds that are respectful. In the Essence Festival, they had the people were, you know, I won't say upper class, but they were cool. I mean, they were nice people. They came to see the entertainment. So whether it was a comedian or whoever was on stage. And so that was one of the 65,000 people. And they introduced me, and I came out, and some people knew me from certain things, but because of the type of crowd it was, they were loving the comedy. And I mean, Destiny's Child was there, and they had a lot of I mean, Stevie Wonder, Prince was at one of them. And so I'm saying to myself, wow, I get to open up. That's one of the things I love about doing comedy. If you want to get in the comedy game, it's a beautiful game because you get to see the acts, the main acts.
Yeah.
You know, until you become a man. And another reason.
Up close.
Right. And the Essence Festival used to have me come. I tell you a cool story because sometimes the comedians will come on stage and they didn't care about the sponsors, which supported the whole Essence Festival. Now, one time Jamie Foxx was on stage and they said, AJ, we need to have you here because when Jamie Foxx get on stage, you know he's going to be hilarious. You know he's going to do his thing. And sure enough, Jamie Foxx was on stage and they couldn't get him off. Jamie was on a roll. Jamie was killing. And after about 30, he was only supposed to do 15 minutes. After about 30 minutes, Jamie is on a roll. So they just finally pulled him and said, go out there and talk about the sponsors. So my job was to go out there and say, we got Coca-Cola here. Where's the Coca-Cola people? We got what you call them here. Where they at? And they were happy just to have me there, man. So that's pretty cool.
I did. I did Essence with Shaka Khan. That was.
Oh yeah. Oh wait a minute. What's that Shaka Khan story you have? Was that Shaka Khan? Was it the Grammys or something?
No, that was. I was at the 50th Grammys with John Fogerty.
Okay.
And we did a segment with Jerry Lee Lewis and Little Richard. Well, that night Tina Turner was being honored, and she did a bit with Beyonce. They did Proud Mary. Well, poor Beyonce gets up on stage, and Aretha Franklin was going to go on right after them.
That's what it was. Aretha Franklin.
Aretha Franklin. So Aretha was at the bottom of the stairs with that big famous yellow dress she wore.
Right.
So Beyonce went on stage and just reading the teleprompter, and the teleprompter said, "I'm proud to be here with Tina Turner, the Queen of Soul."
Oh.
And that did not resonate well. So they did the song and everything, and she walked to the bottom of the stairs, and Aretha just ripped her. I was like standing 10 feet from her, just listening to her going, "There's one Queen of Soul, and it ain't that one." And it went crazy.
Wait a minute, Aretha Franklin ripped Tina Turner?
Beyonce.
Oh, Beyonce.
She did not like that. I was standing right there. And you know what? It's like no one ever talks about it. And I'm sitting there going like, no, I was right there. I watched the whole thing go down because we were going to be right after her with Fogerty and Little Richard and Jerry Lee. So I was just making sure everything was cool. And I just saw that whole thing go down. And I just went like, yeah. And again, I think Beyonce just was reading the teleprompter. She didn't. It's something
right.
she would do.
She wasn't trying to put down Aretha.
Yeah, but it was one of those rock moments where I was sitting there going like, good for you, girl, because you know what? Aretha earned it, right?
Exactly. Aren't they doing a movie? Is there a movie coming out?
There's a bunch. There's a series on Hulu. They're doing a bunch of Aretha rerun.
Right. I forgot who's playing Aretha, but I saw some of the clips on Netflix or something like that.
Well, you know what I just saw? I just saw the United States versus Billie Holiday with Andra Day. What a great
United States versus Billie Holiday.
Billie Holiday.
What's that about?
Great. It's a great movie. It's about how the U.S. messed with Billie because of the way she was and her lifestyle and everything. And I gotta tell you, if Andra Day doesn't win the Academy Award for that, something's wrong. It's amazing. It's such a really, really well done movie. It's not even up for Best Picture, but she's up for Best Actress. But it's really amazing. It tells, I used to hear the stories about Billie when I was working with all the artists, and it put a lot of light on what that woman had to go through in the 40s and 50s. But amazing movie. Really great.
You know what I do? I go through the how do you say, Yahoo or the news and all of that, and I see some of these stories. I'm like, people just be making up stories. I caught 3 stories. I didn't even go into them. The first story was, did you hear about the lady was found in a drainage who had been missing for 10 days, butt naked. And some dude was just walking by, and all of a sudden I hear somebody, help, help, help. And he goes, wait a minute, I heard a voice. I think somebody's down in the drainage. And I go, really? Somebody, and they actually found this lady. She had been walking. I'm trying to figure out how to, now, and the last one I read 2 days ago, you got to Google this stuff, man. I say some of these stories. 91-year-old lady found out she had been pregnant, and she had been pregnant for 60 years. Now, I didn't even read the rest of the story.
It's National Enquirer stuff.
What?
It's National Enquirer.
Right. So certain things I'll see and I go, I ain't reading that.
Well, you know what? They write that stuff because there's a group of people that believe it, man.
You know what it is? There are people, I don't know, and I've checked it, double checked it, because I'll sit there. Do you look at your phone and read stories and stuff like that? Do you do that?
No, not really. You know what? Yeah, I mean, every once in a while, I'll look at it, but it's kind of, my problem is I get too caught up in it, man. It consumes me. I just don't want to go there.
That's what the problem is, Leo. I get so caught up in it. Once I start reading one, I'm reading all of it. There was a guy who disappeared. I mean, he was from Utah. Like I think he was a Mormon. He wanted to go over there and do his spiritual stuff and do all that. He just went over to Asia. And what happened was, someone said he got kidnapped. Did you hear? As a matter of fact, they were trying to get Clinton. No, they were trying to get Trump to go get him. And he ended up supposed to be in Russia. So I just saw the story 2 days ago. He's been missing for 16 years. And then they said, boy missing for 16 years has been found. Do you know, I swiped through every page to see where he was found. After about 15 pages and all this advertisement, I never saw where he was found. I said, they lured me in again. I got to stop doing that. Well, see,
I tell you why. This is what you have to understand. They get a financial gain by how long people stay on the site. You know what I mean? That's
right.
How, you know what I mean? So if they want you to read those 15 pages, because what they want to say is, you see, it's keeping everybody's attention, and then all of a sudden they go to the advertiser and say, look, our average viewership is 15 minutes per user per hit, Right. And then at the end of the day, they don't realize you're going, oh, this is bullshit. They never gave me the answer I wanted.
Right. And
it's so tied around money and statistics and everything, how many clicks, how many beats, how many, you know what I mean? And it's like, yeah, people want to hear where was the guy found? They probably never told you.
Well, no, he was supposed to have been in Russia teaching English to the dude with the funny haircut. I forget his name. What little short dude with the funny haircut?
Who, in Russia?
Yeah.
Who, Putin?
Anyway, wait a minute. The little short dude, the one short dude, funny haircut.
The president, Putin?
Ching-dong. Yeah.
Yeah.
What is that? Who's
that? Kim Jong-un.
Yeah, who's the
That's North
leader
Korea.
of?
That's North Korea.
North Korea, not Russia. They said Russia's kidnapped him and took him to North Korea. Now that didn't make sense right there. And so he was teaching. Russia kidnapped him and sold him to Kim Jong-un, and next thing you know, he's teaching Kim Jong-un English. I'm like, anyway, I'm not reading that story no more. So yeah. On your time when you're not writing your books, what's your happy time when you just sit there, and what do you do for your happy time when you're not doing what you do to make money?
Lucky right now, I'm blessed. I'm always happy. I like to walk. I ride the bike. Try to stay healthy as I can. I love
spending money.
No, you know what? There's really nothing to spend it on. I mean. I got my little Nissan 350Z up here. So it's really awesome because these back roads, you could just zip. So, it's 10 miles to the nearest market. So like going to the market's exciting. I get in my car, I crank the stereo, and I get to, the only thing is, you be driving and these deer run across the road.
Right.
Oh man, you're going like, oh, so lately, and man, it's so sad when you see them get hit. And I've seen them get hit now, and I'm going like, oh man, and the locals are going, what, it's their fault. I'm going like, it's an animal, you know? So now I've learned to drive, especially at night. I turn my high beams on and I'm looking at the edges. I'm not even looking at the road. I'm looking for like eyeballs.
For deers, right.
So no, but you know what? There's some beautiful spots up here. I mean, I'm going to go to LA. I want to see my children. I miss them. But I've been blessed, man. My life's in a great space right now, and you know what? Everything is.
You do. I didn't even mention that a lot of the proceeds, if not all of the proceeds of what you do, your book and everything, goes to foundation, right?
Yeah, my oldest son. I have 5 children. My oldest son Ryan passed away from cancer at 27.
Ooh.
He was a professional soccer player, and then he became a singer-songwriter and. Was in my stable of artists, and some of his music that got picked up by members of the Peace Corps in Central America. So they asked him to come down and play, and he did. And he was amazed at the poverty down there. So he started these foundations doing solar lights in place of kerosene, water filters, giving money to orphans for books and medicine. And so when he passed, I promised him I would take over the charities. And there's a board that we have, and so everything I do, the money goes to charity, to his charities, to help these children around the world living in extreme poverty. You know, like really quick, I was telling Greg earlier, there was this one kid named Edwin that we met 11 years ago. And when Ryan was down there, he gave him a guitar and told him, when things get tough, play this guitar and think about life. And then Ryan did. And this kid was just this super smart little, so he graduated from college early. He's now 24, and he had just made a deal with the Japanese government. They're going to dig a well for his area to get fresh water in Chachulapa, El Salvador, and they're going to dig a well, and he's going to have water for the whole community. And in exchange for that, they're going to build coffee farms, and they're going to repay the Japanese government with coffee. And he came up with this whole idea, and he invited us down for the groundbreaking of the well, which we have to wait till after COVID. But he said, I would never be where I'm at without these guys that didn't help me get to school, bring me solar lights, bring me solar powered refrigeration to our medical clinic, and all the things that we've done. So these are the things that we're doing that are making social impacts, medical impacts with women with cervical cancers down there, orphans, giving them buildings and structures to house their food so they don't waste it. So these are the things that we're doing with all the proceeds from Nights of Rock.
Wow. So where can they actually get the book at?
The best place to buy the book, you can get it on Amazon, but it's black and white because they don't print color for books that are over 500 pages, and mine's 600. If you go to leosbook.org, L-E-O-S book, leosbook.org, you can buy it there. I'm out of hardcovers and coffee tables, but I do have the paperback. And if you do, and in the special instructions, you put your name, I will sign every book, and I'll mail it out. So.
Wow. Now, are you ready to get back to work, man? Are you ready for the shift?
I am. I'm ready. You know what? I was saying.
You know the lowdown. When do you think the ships will sell again?
November.
Are you serious?
I'm thinking November. But you know what? I can't wait to get to Mazatlan and walk to the cathedral and have the margarita and the tacos and, and spread love on the ships. But I'm thinking it's going to be November. I think that the ones out of the Caribbean are going to go, but I think the U.S. market, I don't think the CDC is going to allow it till November.
Well, the word on the street, I heard that there's 2 ships that's going to take off June and July, the end of June and July.
Right.
And one is going to be like in Greece or somewhere in another country. And then the other is going to be
Nassau, the Bahamas, St. Martin.
St. Martin. So you got that information too.
Well, hopefully you and I will be on that together.
Exactly.
And then there's some stuff coming. There's the UK out of Southampton going up to Liverpool and stuff that. So, but you know what? We got time, AJ. You know what? We'll get there and we'll go out there and do our thing, and we're going to do some shows together. And I'm excited. And I think it's all about spreading love, baby.
Exactly. So that's one beautiful thing about money means zero to Leo. You're just like me in a sense, cause I'm the same way, man. I'm rich in every other source that you can be rich in. So I have too much richness to even think about money. So but I've been like that. My father used to always say to me, you better start learning how to like money. I go, no, money. And I used to say, old cliche, I said, money, the root of all evil. He said, well, it's going to be evil if we run out of money. And I would say, Daddy, I don't care about no money.
Hey, man, if you love and you give love, you'll never starve, baby.
Right. And you know what else I know about us? If we had a bunch of money, we would still give it away, and we'd be right where we were at.
Hey, we're lucky that we get to go on ships and do the things that people have to pay for, and and it's paid for us. And so some of the things that people save up for, you and I are blessed to do with our craft, and spread joy and help people and heal people, So
exactly, and that's the beautiful thing about it. Well, Leo, it's about that time. Oh,
yeah.
Real quick, You know, there's another. I had 2 people call me from seeing my post saying, "Oh, you're gonna be working with Leo Rossi." He was my acting coach. I was like, "Your acting coach?"
Oh, wrong, Leo Rossi. That's an actor. There's a Leo Rossi actor.
Actor. You know, I was.
There's an actor named Leo Rossi.
So
yeah.
I said, let me talk to Leo to see if he can act.
No. It's funny. A while back, we did run across each other. He's, "Oh, you're the music guy," and I go, "Oh, you're the actor." And
he ran into each other.
Yeah, it was a long time ago. I forgot we were at a Fleetwood Mac show or something.
That is so funny.
We just sucked it up, but he's a good actor. But yeah, no, that's a different Leo Rossi, which is sort of cool because when people Google Leo Rossi, they get all his crap and they don't get mine.
Right. Well, you know what? I had a wonderful time with the show today. Thank you for joining us, man.
My pleasure, man.
You talk with my man Greg, the producer of the show, and Courtney is the producer's producer. So they're great staff. They keep this thing running. They keep this thing flowing. And once again, maybe we can see you doing your own little podcast down the road.
No, I would love it. And, now that we've done this, I have like a lot of rare footage and stuff that I can share with my story. So
exactly,
if we wanted to do this again sometime and you say, "Hey, show that clip of like, the stuff you've seen on the ship," I can share the screen and show it. I've been doing a lot of virtuals, which is cool. So the virtuals, for corporate training and stuff like that. So I love to share, and then working with you anytime, man. Anytime, any place you call me, I'll be there for you, my brother.
All right. Well, it's a blessing to have you on the show. Once again, next week we will have our video clips, and I will show a clip of you that the people miss. So thank you for coming on the show, Leo, and thank you, the audience, for checking us out on Stuck in the Middle. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you just have love in your heart, because there's a lot of things going around right now, and it's anti-love. So God bless you. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful time. It's AJ Jamal and Leo Rossi signing out.